Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. So I'm going to start this video off by apologizing for probably butchering Roshani's name. For some reason my mouth will just not say her last name. Now this video will start with a non-spoiler section and then go into a spoiler section, so obviously if you have not read the book and don't want to be spoiled, you guys can skip the last bit, but if you're interested in my thoughts, you're also welcome to stay. Set in 1889 Paris, we follow Severin and his ragtag crew on a heist mission to find an ancient artifact. Now obviously there's a lot more in that blurb, but we're going to talk about it, we're going to get to it. So The Gilded Wolves wasn't a book that I was originally going to pick up. I was thinking I wasn't really a fan of her previous works. It didn't really interest me in like the synopsis that I heard, but then I heard everyone was saying really good things about it and that it reminded them of Six of Crows, and obviously I'm a huge fan of Six of Crows, so I thought I would give it a go. And look, overall I didn't love it. I enjoyed bits of it, but there were a lot of things that I didn't really like. Getting into the non-spoilery section, the main things that I guess not even had a problem with, but just couldn't make sense of, the world for some reason just wouldn't compute with me. I mean, obviously it's set in 1889 Paris, but it's also got this element of fantasy to it. It's not high fantasy, but it's like urban fantasy, I think is the one where it's like real life. But I couldn't fully understand the world and therefore the magic system. I really struggled with the magic system in the series, and no matter how many times they kind of explained it, it wouldn't sink into me. I mean, like, I struggled when I started reading it because I had the expectation that it would be similar to Six of Crows, and obviously when I started reading it, to me it was very similar to Six of Crows in kind of the dynamic of the group. Obviously that kind of changed and evolved as the book went on, but originally I was just imagining, you know, Severin as like a B-grade Kaz and Layla as like an almost a Nej, which I didn't want to be doing. I wanted to be able to separate them separately. So that's another reason why I really struggled with this book. Towards the end of the book, I found I definitely loved the relationships and the dynamics throughout the series. There were things that were alluded to in the book that I know are obviously going to come into play in books 2 and 3 or the next book in the series. I'm not sure how many books there are, but they weren't answered for me in this book, which it wasn't enough to keep me overly interested. I mean, in that saying, I finished it in a day and a half. So I mean, now I'll just get on to my spoilery section. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to head off and then come back once you've read it. Or again, if you like spoilers, you're welcome to stay. So as I said, my main gripe with this was I just imagined crew in this as like an almost dregs. Like an almost dregs. Although in saying this, there were some things in this book that were more adult than Six of Crows. Also, I don't remember how old everyone is. For some reason, I don't remember them mentioning everyone's age. And obviously because I imagine it as a YA book, I assume they're all 16. And again, being now 25, not that I will admit it, I will take it to my grave. I'm now, yeah, unfortunately struggling to find the fact that 16-year-olds can do these things believable, which I hate about it now. Because obviously when I was 16 and I was reading it, I was like, I could take on the world, I could be the next Mockingjay. But as I get older and older, I'm like, I was 16. Where are these people's parents? Obviously they're dead, but like where are the adult figures? Like, why are these children doing it? That's a thing that I'm trying to get past as like a reader myself as I get older and older, and all my favorite characters just seem to be getting younger and younger. The whole time I was imagining Severin as just this almost Kaz. Like there was, and I liked Kaz more than I liked Severin, and I wanted to be like, oh, I like them both on equal standing. I just couldn't get past it's trying to be a Kaz, and I know I'm trying so hard to separate them, because obviously now anything heist crew related will be related to Six of Crows, and now when you have favorite books, you will assume that it's a lot similar to that. So that's another thing I'm trying to separate in my head, is they're obviously two different books by two very different authors, and just trying to separate them was a real struggle for me in this book in particular. I mean, it's not the first book that I've, you know, now got a new crew and I've got to try and figure out the dynamics and if I like them or not, but this one in particular was very, you know, it's a heist, so you go Six of Crows. It's a crew of ragtag people that have all been pulled together and are kind of indebted to the main character, Six of Crows. The relationship they had with Layla, again, I'm like, just Kaz and Annette. He's rescued her from this, like, not rescued her from a dancing, you know, life, but he's rescued her. I did, however, like the fact that Layla isn't actually real. I thought that was cool. I liked that she was forged. One thing I will say that I did like about the characters is how well their personalities came across on page. So Severin was probably my least favorite of the characters personality wise. I really liked Zofia. I thought she was a really interesting character and she's written really well. I really liked how flamboyant Hypnos was. I think Hypnos as a nickname is terrible, but I liked how flamboyant he was. I liked Layla and her struggle with, you know, am I real, am I not real? And whatever her story was, like, there's obviously so much more to it, but I feel like it was just touched on, but not enough to keep me interested. I really liked Tristan. I wanted to know more about him. Unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. And all I want to know is who's looking after Goliath. Who now cares for Goliath? I also really liked Enrique. I thought he was fun. Another thing that I think this book did really well is kind of address like the cultural differences throughout the world. Obviously back then in 1889 Paris, it was a completely different world, and so it's cool to see like actual historical events linked into things. In terms of the magic system, like I said, it just went completely over my head. I did not understand the forging, the Babel, the house rings. Like I still don't understand. Like I couldn't explain it to you. And having an affinity for mind or matter, like I don't know. I can't explain it to you. If someone can explain it to me in simple layman's terms, please do. And in terms of plot, again, like it kind of went over my head, and I don't know if that's just because I was in the wrong mind space to read it. All the historical references were really cool, but I also think, like, just for me personally, I feel really stupid. It was just a bit too much. I didn't know what was going on, and when like Zofia and Enrique would like get into it about solving historical, scientific, mathematical equations, I was just like, yes. And it's interesting to find, like, you know, for some reason my brain won't click onto this magic system, but it'll click onto some other random magic system, which is definitely completely make-believe and nothing based on real life. And I'm like, oh, yep, that makes sense. That I can understand that. Whereas this one that has, like, it's rooted in real life and, like, actual things, I'm just like, I don't understand. Anyway, those are my thoughts and feelings on the Gilded Wolves. If I didn't touch on anything and you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you. Otherwise, let me know what you think and I will see you next time. Bye!